It's been a while. We now have funds. It's a new fiscal year, so welcome to the July 11th, 2024 meeting of the Urban Renewal Authority. I appreciate everybody being here. Roll call.
Roll call to arrival.
Okay, and before you, we have been emailed, as well as have before us, the minutes from March 14, 2024, which looked accurate to me. Anybody want to make a motion that we approve those minutes?
Make a motion.
Okay. All right, it has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, the minutes are approved. We have a few members of the public here. Would anybody like to comment before we move forward?
Ashley handed the minutes.
Thank you. Well, it's exciting days in Clarksburg. We wake up in the morning, we see a fresh, clean parking garage. It's getting there. It looks beautiful. Thank you very much. It's just one of those things that put a little maintenance into it. It makes a big difference. And I think a lot of people notice that and react positively for that. What I asked Paula to hand out for me is just one of these groups or pods or blogs I follow. It's called Revitalize or Die. And I think it has a lot to do with not only Clarksburg, but Worcester, Massachusetts, Altoona, PA, all over the country. And it's just pretty insightful of what they say. The first one says, city leaders should worry more about the rights of people investing in their property and less about the rights of the people ignoring their property. As you look around downtown, there's a lot of buildings, people trying to do things to increase their presence positively, but there's a lot of businesses downtown and buildings downtown that just don't do anything. And they're the ones that are really hurting prosperity of Clarksburg. Next one is no public input is needed to know residents want a beautiful downtown full of preserved buildings and locally owned shops where humans are given preferential treatment to cars. Next one is who's your city protecting? Property rights are meant to protect investment, not encourage decline. And the last one is not everyone looks at an empty building, belong your downtown and sees opportunity. Don't wait for them to bring about change. Go forward without them. Go forward for them. So I think there's some cool comments here that a lot of people should focus on. I know that you all try your best on trying to get some grants out there, try to put the best foot forward, but I think there's still an uphill battle to do that. So anything we can do to help, we're always there to help. And that said, I just looking to see what was the final number on the facade grant for this year.
I think we spent all, but do you know the final, what was left over?
Close to 100,000. I didn't bring that number. That's not this year's.
So what's this year's?
We have 100,000
Okay,
budget.
that's,
Yeah, which is good when we started from 30.
yeah.
So I think the city is doing some of what you're asking. I think we'll continue to see that.
Yeah.
So we've got to thank city council for increasing our budget by so much.
Thank you guys for taking it to them. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your thank you for what the two of you do in Clarksburg.
You all?
There is not any unfinished business. It might be good, since we didn't have a June meeting, maybe at the next one, if you don't mind, Kim, just give us a little rundown of what was spent last fiscal year, what was left, if you don't mind. Okay, I think that would be helpful. We don't have on here treasurer's report, and we should have it. Yeah, so we will keep adding that to the agenda.
We can put that as a running agenda item.
Yeah, I think it's
every
been
time.
supposed to be. It just, I don't know how it doesn't get on, but
Okay.
yeah. That way, we all know, we can let the public know where our numbers are.
Okay.
All right, so anybody have any unfinished business? We do not. New business, we have a consideration of an application of Amy and John Lanham for her office at 230 Court Street for facade improvement. That was emailed and is before you. There are 2 quotes. It looks like everything is in order. It has been checked. The application has been checked and double checked, and the estimates appear to be in order and consistent with what they're asking to do. They're going to fix some of the wood around the roof line and look at a security system, install some lightings, and clean up out front of the office overall. Anything you want to say about this, Ashley?
Yeah, it's 230 Court Street, Amy's on Lamb, earning hours, 2 quotes, well described. I think one was 25,000, 825, city window. The other one was from Advantage Construction, 38,850. Everything appears to be complete. I didn't see any reason to hold it up for your review and consideration. I'm not gonna bring one to you that's not complete. I got another one that got held up. We got a couple of others out there that's not back yet, so. I also want to introduce Jason Lane.
Hello?
He's got some ERA stuff that I think he's gonna be passing out to try to generate some new business. And I also want to introduce Dr. Shana Nicholson. She's our new grant writer, community development person. Jason took Tom's place. He's a projects coordinator here for the city.
Okay.
They're both doing awesome jobs, so
Awesome.
looking forward to working with them, and working with you all, and anything we can do. Do you all have any questions on any of on this application?
I appreciate you being back in the saddle. I can't tell you how much I appreciate your diligence
If
with
you'll
these.
notice, what I'm gonna do when we notice exactly the checkbox that's on the application. We'll go through, check everything, make sure everything's complete. Review it. 2 sets of eyes on it. If that's good, then we'll bring it to the board. You can review it and consider. So that's about all I have.
Okay.
Did they apply as owners, because they are the owner in the office?
They all down here.
Yeah.
Did they apply for both grants, the 7,500 or this?
Well, they just got one grant,
Great.
but 2 quotes, and they're both itemized, but the city wind one's a little more described than Advantage Construction.
Because they could have applied for 2 grants.
I didn't know that when I talked to her, she asked me, so we just talked, I just worked with the one. If she's entitled to or able to, I can let her know that today. She asked me yesterday, I thought, I didn't know how that worked yet, but when she submitted, she just did it for the business. And then she asked me yesterday if she could submit for the second one, and I said I didn't know.
I thought when it was the same person, it's one or the other.
I don't,
I'm pretty sure, when you own it and are the business owner,
It's 2 separate businesses. They, as a business, own, like business A owns the building.
and then
Farm
she's
business
business
separate.
B is but she's part owner of the building?
I believe.
But that could-
And the
That
business
could
is
work
on-
if they're separate.
And then he owns the wall pack.
Yeah, okay. But for right now, we're considering one
Right.
grant, okay.
And then I had a question, if you don't mind me interrupting. When I get them in there,
I had one too, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
When I get them, and before I go pester anybody with them, if they're not complete, I call and ask, and I'm holding them, is that acceptable, or do you want me to just send them back incomplete? I don't, if they're almost done and you're missing one thing,
It needs to be a complete application to make it to the board.
right, I wouldn't bring it, but it,
I think you're allowed to go ask. them for the pieces, absolutely. I mean, we want you to facilitate getting applications in here.
That was kind of my thought, was I just
Oh.
called, as long as they're, not just, hey, I want $10,000 with nothing with it.
Yeah, it's your due diligence to take that, move it to Ashley. Ashley and you work back together so that when it hits our desk, we're not asking, where's the building permit or where's that? So I agree that I think you're addressing it in the manner that it should be.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm doing. So if there's missing pieces or something, before I bother asking them or anybody else, if it's almost complete, I'm just reaching out to the applicant
Oh.
and saying,
Absolutely, because I think that's necessary. They don't always know
right.
what they're missing or not. So I think absolutely that's an appropriate thing to do. No, I think that's helpful.
I'm gonna turn the podium over to Jason, he can tell you what he's prepared to pass out to people.
Well,
That's on the
yeah, let's, we have to vote on this first, and then what, you're talking about the letter? Yes, okay, let's finish this piece, then absolutely, then we'll have, that's the next item, agenda item. Okay, so are there any questions for Ashley?
Just a general question, I pretty much know everybody in here, so neither John or Amy are here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Are
there,
we getting in touch with them to let them know to come to the meetings? If they want it, if they can?
Yeah. Oh, you mean Amy? Yeah, I talked to her yesterday, she had a hearing today, and I told her I'd let her know, and if we need her, she
Okay.
can know her, and if there was a problem,
okay,
let her know, if it's a pretty, I'll let her know.
is there a motion on this application
I make a motion to accept it.
and grant how much?
Well, that's a good question. So was it filed as the building or as the business?
She filed it as the law owner, and
So-
asked,
Unless she finds something different at this time, we would do the 2,500, and then she could report back and say that she's eligible, so it's just a technicality for her to resubmit.
I think it's the 5 because the application's in the name of Amy and John,
Yeah.
and Amy owns the business, so.
The business is a different name, so I assumed it was as the building owners.
yeah, I think this one's the bill for the building.
Yes, so that's 5,000, so
then
5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, that was my question to ask you all too.
So it's 2,500 if it's the business, and 5 if it's the building, correct?
Yes.
And our consideration today is to grant the 5,000 for the building, and she has a right to resubmit. Yeah, correct.
Like for signage or something other than she can't resubmit for something that's already been in these quotes. So it would have to be something, a new facade, another aspect of the facade. Okay, so there's a motion to grant the 5,000 to the business owners of Amy, or the property owners of Amy and John Lanham. Is there a second?
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay, now, discussion review of the facade letter.
So I put this on the agenda, I asked staff to write it, it doesn't require a vote, I just wanted for the committee to see it before we sent it out.
Sure.
Good morning. This letter was prepared and reviewed by Shana and myself. I took a little bit of the language out of the way the ordinance was written. With the graciousness of Ms. Harvey and the folks at the Empire, they allowed me to use the pictures that are placed at the bottom of it because those were companies that had previously, taken part in the facade grant application. The grant program is an awesome thing for the businesses in Clarksburg, and we want to continue to use that. I know that the letter has on there about the link, and it's hard to click a link in a letter. So hopefully, the use of placing my phone number down at the bottom of the letter will help facilitate some of the questions. And included in the letter when I go to distribute it to the businesses will be the application itself. And I'll probably include a business card, when we do start delivering some of these to the businesses. If you guys review the letter, see any grammatical errors or anything like that that you want me to change, prior to distribution, just let me know.
And this is really nice. Thank you. And I think it's important to get this out to business owners and property owners. If you have space on here, it's just kind of a visual thing to me. If there's space to put the amount of the grant in the letter, I know it's on the application, but I think it would kind of catch people if they're looking at that. But if it messes up the flow of this, then don't worry about it. But I think it might be nice to have the amount on the front page for them to see. And I know it is here, but I'll put money wherever we can. I just think people respond to that.
There's a little bit of it down at the bottom, and I kind of called out, with my phone number and name and contact information, I kind of called that out in a little bit of bold. That way it kind of stuck out some.
Yeah. And you might, I don't know if we want to say business and property owners or business owner. I'm not, sure what you all as the city
I would
governance
prefer to
things.
keep it business owners, yeah, because it would become a bit convoluted if you put property
Okay.
owners. I think we'll have other applications that will have to say you don't qualify.
Okay.
Anything
I
else?
think it's very nice. It's very
Thank
good.
you.
Oh, I guess I do have one question. What's your mailing list for this? How have you determined how you're going to send this out?
Tiffany and I will work together to try to figure out what businesses we want to include.
Okay.
My goal would be to include everybody in the designated area. Of course, when you talk mailing, you're looking at, creating a lot of letters and envelopes.
There's a lot of
and getting
postage.
funding, I'll distribute maybe in town, hand deliver them.
Oh, okay.
Maybe send them out when you do the B and O.
Yeah, we
And
can.
that way it's a free mail.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, any suggestions are, I'm open for them, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Are there any announcements?
I just wanted to, I don't know if we could do a press release on this, our facade grant application the city's doing, and just basically every time that we have an application, put that on a thing to do a press release. So it's good for the city, it's good for the business owner, and it lets people know what we're doing. So, but just tag that on every application that do a press release.
Jason Lane, so when John Whitmore left, we temporarily put Ashley in as the director or the liaison with the city, but the intent was to have Jason's position. Now that Jason's here, it would be Jason as that member. Is the committee still okay with that? Ashley would still attend, but Jason would actually be the person that John Whitmore used to be on the committee.
As long as Jason functions like Ashley. Yeah, I think
Jason will function alongside that.
that's kind of my,
I'll leave you sign.
yes, I'm very happy with that, as long as they get here as we need them to. That's perfectly, are you good with, yeah. Brian?
We've got a great team, so.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think so.
I agree.
I think so too. Okay, any other announcements?
And what grants, there are grants out there that you can get for URA, get us some funding, maybe we could expand what we do besides, facades, developing buildings, bringing people in.
There's brownfield, there's USDA, there's CUP, we're working on it, and Jason and Ashley and I are looking at several different opportunities and different things that we're kind of pulling in together. We're also looking at developing a community outreach webpage that will highlight all the businesses in town, including open spaces, but I've only been here a hot minute, and I'm locating each of those things, but City Manager Fell has really given us the green light to go ahead and do everything we can to support the outreach. I've met with both folks from the board, they're fantastic. I'm trying to get their available properties out on that as well. I've met with the Empire folks, the facade grant, funding, did the lights, helped fund the pretty lights that were done, solar stuff. So yeah, we're working on it. And as the new webpage development comes, I will bring the parts that I want to highlight for the URA as part of that outreach, because of the work being done.
We're also looking for some funding to do a downtown beautification plan. And I think if we are able to locate and acquire that funding, pieces of that we'll have to bring here to incorporate into some sort of policy for how we want some of the upgrades to the front to look if that comes out of that beautification
Kind of
plan.
have a scheme.
Yes,
But
that's the
And
ultimate goal.
Consistency, yeah.
I like that too, lighten up the buildings, and if you want
Yes.
to take part, we give you the money, and if you
Yeah.
don't,
That's
would
Skill
look
of
nice. It
consistency.
would give us a, kind of an identity of downtown. like
Yeah,
the
and
old
actually
time.
Cohesive.
designate what that specific beautification area downtown is. I have an idea from Chestnut to Second, Pike and Main, sort of that would be the core. And then there'd be like the second phase slightly around that, but that would be the actual focus. But we're looking for that right now.
And do you all have a branding logo template for the URA? Is that something that we offshoot from Clarksburg and build as part of the landing page as well? Is that something we can bring to you for approval? So it's to highlight what's being done.
So we're doing that with the POTA right now.
2 o'clock in the morning.
It's been hard to do, but I think it's a good idea that we have, using the city colors, just its own little logo or whatever. Because I think, again, in the press release, if you have that, it's a good branding tool.
The library has done that with their different, they have one main, the one for Friends, one for the foundation, one for the travel. They've kind of altered it minorly, but it's got some consistency to it as well, which that makes, I think, understand. All right,
I have a question.
yes.
In the March meeting minutes, it reflects that Ashley was appointed by motion executive director of the Urban Renewal Authority, and I just was unclear on what you all just did a few minutes ago.
We'll have to put it on to the next agenda
Okay.
to formally do that. When I had first brought it up, he was the interim.
Interim.
So no action was taken today?
No.
No.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that everybody's still okay with that change.
Understood.
Yeah, we're okay with that change.
On the committee. Now, if the committee wants to keep Ashley and Jason can attend, that's fine too, but the intent was to switch it. But they'll both be here every meeting, and they're both great, so.
You don't mind being demoted?
No, I didn't ask for it anyway.
So we'll make the formal change. This was just being brought to us. It's kind of like the first reading. It's just being brought to us, and we'll formalize it at the next meeting.
Actually is, I don't know, sometime maybe if you want to do a presentation on, for slum and blight of, because people will ask, what's the deal when you see a house that's tagged or it's been there for 3 years? Maybe you could explain how what that law is, what is going on, so we'll know, because one of our jobs is slum and blight. And I get asked questions, I don't know, I tell them, call Ashley.
So I think one of the things we can do, and I think as board members need to do a little bit better job of, is letting Tiffany, or it'll be Jason making the agenda. John always made the agenda. So I
So
don't think it's
Jason will do
Jason.
it
Actually, you can
in
control it.
conjunction with
Sure.
Paula.
Yeah,
I know
John
you
just
are.
kind of took that. So I think we need to decide some of those things, because when John came in,
They
he
do,
said
the
it was,
agenda items need to be submitted 3 days in, I think 3 days in advance of the agenda being completed and sent
and
out.
it needs to be, what does it need to be out a week, published a week before our meetings? 3 days?
3 days.
Okay, because John had said a week. So I think getting clear on that now that we have some new leadership would be helpful, but we can ask those items to be put on agendas, which would be good. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
I have a question for you, John. Will you all get me a list of what you'd like in terms of grant funding and what, like, your strategic plans, ideas? You can just email that stuff to me, and as I find it, I can
I like to have something for demolition, just to start tearing down two houses together, or start building new houses, get rid of the slum. We got a lot of slum and blight.
Jason can speak to that. I think we're remediating 40,
There's a minimum of 30 houses that are gonna be lumped in under the dilapidated grant that was received last year. We're working towards, acquiring more funding to get more added to that list.
And is that through the city or through the URA?
Through the city.
That's
Okay,
through the city.
then it's not that.
And then now that we have the LRA, so the Land Reuse Agency, we acquired a number of properties at the auction, plus we're working on the demo list. So where there's 2 or 3 lots put together, we're gonna be working on redevelopment plans for housing for those lots.
And then on our collection, when we start collecting the outdue, I'm sure council's aware of the money that's due to URA and the city through demos that weren't paid. Maybe we can funnel that money back into URA and we can start.
So now that the demos, that actually the LRA is more of the place where that lands now. So when the auction, when we get rid of those properties, or we acquire those properties and we get rid of those properties, that money, it circles back into the LRA. So they deal more with land and reuse, and this committee deals more with the beautification.
Tearing them down.
Yeah.
Beautifying our neighborhoods,
Yeah.
get rid of the slum and blight.
Yeah.
Because it's out there. I've always been looking for houses, and we've got a problem. And there's about $1 million that's owed from unpaid demos.
It
And it would
is.
be nice to take action on that. I don't know if council knows about that, if you could make them aware of it.
No, they
There's no
don't.
actions ever really been taken.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do something.
I am working on a plan right now. Actually, I just met with somebody yesterday about that.
Fantastic.
Want to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming. There, good. Megan is working at Genesis now.
Okay.